You're listening to Charting the Future, a podcast for independent pediatricians by PCC. For more information about our software and services, please visit www.pcc.com or visit us on social media.
Welcome back, friends, to Charting the Future, the podcast from PCC, where I have the privilege and fun of getting to interview people out in the independent pediatric space all over the country, get to hear their stories and get to hear why they do what they do. And hopefully every now and then we get a couple nuggets of advice. And I'm here today with Lisa Callahan from, you're kind of in the boonies of Oregon, right? Would you call it the boonies?
It is very much the boonies of Oregon. We're actually out in the mountain.
No, you know what? Oregon is the one other part of the country that I understand. You know, I got there and I'm like, oh, this is Vermont on steroids. But who cares what I think? I'm here today to hear about your practice. So, Lisa Callahan, tell us about Grants Pass Pediatrics. I want to hear all about it.
You know, Grants Pass Pediatrics started out when I was actually initially working in a resort town in Eastern Oregon, really beautiful area. And my husband got transferred 5 hours away, which wasn't a very easy commute to work.
Yeah.
So I decided to open up a new office. The offices that were already established here weren't hiring, but there was a big need for the Medicaid kids to have a place to go.
Mm-hmm.
So I got my ducks in a row, and I got my hospital admissions covered and joined the local call group, which was a group of about 13 pediatricians who, in exchange for managing my baby's discharge from the nursery or any admissions I needed, I took all of their patient calls in the evenings and on the weekends.
Oh,
so
okay.
I will admit, I got a lot more calls than they got admissions.
But you got introduced to everyone in town that way.
True that. Yeah.
Yeah. How long ago was that? When was that?
That was in 2000.
All right.
So 25 years ago. And after about 10 years of that, they decided they didn't want to do my admissions anymore. So I found another physician who was excited to take my calls because he was family practice and didn't see very many babies. And, he would go from greeting one of my babies into the world to saying goodbye to one of his long-term patients. And so it worked really well for him in balance. And I was able to take call just for my patients. I didn't have to take call for all those practices. And my life became much more simple at that point.
I bet. I did some research once, actually, that showed the single biggest source of burnout in pediatrics is taking call nights and weekends. If you can solve that problem, get it to a level that you can manage, you can have your career will extend another 5 or 10 years. Anyway.
Fabulous.
Yep. So there you are. And you have basically a new call partner and a coverage partner.
One.
Yep, partner one. And so then keep going. Tell us how you ended up as Grants Pass Peds.
Yeah, so at that point I hung a shingle that wasn't just my name because I hired a nurse practitioner to come on a couple of days a week. And that gave me one night in a week and 1 week in a month off of call. So my brain didn't always have to be on and I could go have that drink if I wanted to. And wow, it's been such easy sailing since then. I hate to say it, but we know our patients, our families. We've got a very small practice that we share. And when they call after hours, it's very unusual that we don't know their whole backstory without opening our EHR, or that we didn't just see them and we know their labs. It makes it really simple.
That's kind of a Norman Rockwell doctor experience right there.
It's kind of the town I grew up in. I grew up in a really small town, and we would go have our physicals in the doctor's kitchen and then go visit in the living room while her husband smoked pipe.
So my grandfather was a rural GP, and he built his own house. My grandfather was crazy. He built his own house and built his office attached to it. And so literally there was a shared bathroom between their kitchen and the office. So when I was a little kid, I didn't know any better. We'd go to his kitchen and we'd walk right into his office. And we'd look through all his cabinets and see all his medications and everything like that. And it sounds somewhat similar.
Well, that was absolutely my inspiration for going into medicine. Her name was Dr. Emery. She was an old army doc. And that was my view of doctors until I actually probably got married.
Right. Have you ever been paid in a currency besides American money, like chickens? That's my question. Anyone ever paid
Still,
chicken?
I still have some cards from my grandfather. He was paid in eggs.
Oh, my grandfather was paid a few times in roadkill.
Oh,
believe it or not.
no, we didn't ever have that one.
No, because, well, up here, I'm sure it's true in Oregon, when someone hits a deer, all right, the state police come get it, and they don't waste it. They bring it back, they dress it, and they throw it in freezers. And historically, I doubt it's true anymore. I'm sure it's not true anymore, but historically, all the troopers had, or someone had, piles and piles of deer meat that they would distribute to families who they knew needed it. But my grandfather was sometimes a recipient of some, venison, black and blue venison. Yeah. So, tell me about your practice now. What does it look like? How does it feel?
So, in Oregon, our Medicaid is actually works on a waiver system on my entire practice. So for 25 years, we've had something called the Oregon Health Plan.
Mm-hmm.
And it evolved into something called CCOs, where it's managed healthcare. And we have prioritized lists. So we get paid capitation to manage our patients. And that allows me to have a base salary and not necessarily care what insurance somebody has coming through the door. You still have to bill. You still need to get your numbers right. But it's maybe not the same as if I was building a Cigna or Aetna or Blue Cross practice where they can delay their payments, to be honest. So my practice is 85%, give or take from year to year, 85% of Medicaid. And that worked really well for me through COVID, actually, because I was getting my capitation every month. And we didn't close, honestly, during COVID. I'm so happy that I met that Chip and Polly show during COVID, because it really reiterated or emphasized some of the things we were doing right. And I wish I had connected with you 30 years ago, honestly, because we stayed open and we were able to keep our vaccination rates up more so than some of the offices that closed up for years. I didn't understand. Keep those kids out of the ER and keep them, keep them home.
So two things. Number one, 30 years ago, I was an even bigger idiot. So if you'd met me back then, I would have led you astray. Secondly, that was what you just described was one of the surprises we ran into during COVID, because capitation is just a math problem. Okay. If you get paid, if the capitation rates you get are appropriate, there is a benefit to it. It's just that most of the time they're not appropriate, because capitation is just another vehicle by which the payers can obfuscate the amount of money that they're giving for you to do the work most of the time. But if they do pay you decently, or in the case of COVID, where your visits plummet by 80%, but you get paid like they're still full, that was a real, 2 months into it, I started hearing from people like you, oh yeah, I'm mostly capitated. And I'm like, oh my gosh, they're not nervous like everyone else is. So that was great. Good for you.
Yeah. And honestly, we have the best families. I think we have the best patients in the world here. We know their backstories. They're part of our family. We went through some health challenges and they stuck with us. And really, it was not a hiccup. It went so smoothly. They're so understanding. But the capitation, you need to make sure is reflective of a patient's actual health status. We're not on a flat cap. So it only works if you document correctly, because they're what's the word I'm looking for? The intensity of the patient, their acuity level.
The risk factor. Yeah, the risk factor.
Yeah. And their age decides what their capitation is.
I should have talked to you about this before we go on the podcast, but now I'm going to ask you some questions live. Are you made aware by the payer what the risk factor is for each family?
Yes. I have that.
I'm freaking out right now. You and I should talk about this sometime. Yeah, no, because I've been fascinated in the concept of risk factor for pediatrics for years, and there aren't really good published methodologies and systems necessarily freely ones to help do this. Because in an ideal world, okay, PCC's EHR, every time you pull a kid up, it would give you a sense of his risk factor right there, so you know. And that's hard to do because it's not like RVUs. It's not like someone publishes freely a risk factor tool. Yes, for those who want to nitpick right into me later, yes, there are some, CMS does publish some stuff, but it's not, as you can imagine, it's not done well for pediatrics, in my opinion. And so I would love to see what tools they're using for you.
Well, and I would love to see if my EHR would reflect the same as what they're listing as my risk factors.
Oh, that's why freaking out. I'm like, okay, guys, show me your formula, and then we will check it. Because, boy, I have never worked with a capitation scenario. I've never even worked with a fee-for-service scenario where the money added up right, and it's never in your favor.
Yeah, and I mean, Oregon does do it differently. Okay, so admittedly, we don't always have it right, but they do reevaluate it. And so, yes, it probably does need to be reevaluated and balanced. We also have something called an alternative payment model, where if we reach our clinical goals, then we get a nice bonus the next year. If we can show that we met benchmarks and then improve on those benchmarks, then we get a nice bonus.
Yeah, it's
about 2 to 3 months of capitation worth of bonus.
Yeah, that's real money, real money.
Yeah.
It's ironic that the most successful capitation and quality programs I'm aware of in the U.S. are Medicaid based. All the other ones, what ends up happening is, you get signed up. You're like, oh, look, we have this great bonus thing. And so practices start shifting patients that way. And then 2 or 3 years into it, now you need that bonus to justify the patient volume that's there. But then they start taking away from the other end. They take away from the fee for service. Or I've been working a lot lately with a practice I know. I'm not going to provide any details. We'll find out who listens to my podcast. But this practice is on their second consecutive year losing out on more than 6 figures of a bonus payment because of attribution problems. So they gave flu shots to adults in their community. All those adults ended up on their panel, so they failed their quality payment. That was 2 years ago. Last year, they missed about I think $150,000 real money, because they had 25 patients who had it was one of those classic things, who'd had asthma but weren't put on inhalers. Not one of those patients was seen in their practice. They had all gone to the ER. They had no idea.
Oh, gap lists are critical in this.
Yes.
You have to know your gap lists. Yeah, they can.
No, within the concept of how their stuff has been constructed, they don't get the information until the end of the year.
Then they should negotiate as part of their alternative payment method that they have to be able to have current gap lists.
Yes,
it's crucial.
This is where our discussion is. Like, oh, wait a second. Here's the other thing. They look at your numbers for this sounds like an exaggeration, but I don't think it's true. Your numbers, your performance numbers, the way they pay in this location is they don't give you a bonus check. They augment your fee-for-service charges. And what they do is, okay, based on your performance in 2024, we're going to pay you an extra 10% on your E&Ms in 2025. And then in 2025, actually right now, they've learned, oh, geez, you're not going to make your 2025 stuff, so your 2026 E&Ms are going to be lowered by this amount because of attribution and because they are part of an IPA that just doesn't know what they're doing. So I'm with you. I'm totally with you. But it's working for you, and for that I'm pleased.
I am always happy to talk to someone if they need work on maybe some of their, I don't know, capitation.
What's
If
possible?
we can negotiate that.
Well, I'm just going to say right now, you're about to be on a podcast. People are going to hear that offer. So I'll say,
You're going to call me.
Lisa Callahan, I'm going to protect you. If you want to talk to Lisa, come talk to me first. I will screen them so you don't get any crazy people. I do know that Lisa's extremely generous and helpful, so she means it when she says it. So
I'm always happy to.
yeah. So your practice, what are your plans? What does it look like over the next 10 years?
Well, my son's in school to come join me and hopefully take over my acquisition here. But I would love to practice with him for a bit. So right now I'm just starting to think about increasing the practice so that we can both have room to stay busy.
I love that. I love that. I think it's great. Not that I could have worked with her. She'd have fired me. But
no, he's a mini me. Actually, he's taller than I am, but we're very similar. We have a good time.
I am so supportive of that idea, and I really hope it happens.
I've tried so many ways to talk him out of it, and he finally just gets upset and says, "But Mom, this is what I want to be. This is what I want to do. Please stop trying to talk me out of it."
Like, you have to test it. You have to push back on it, and when he pushes back harder, then you're like, "All right, here you go."
Right. Yeah, but I finally stopped trying to talk him out of it this year.
Yeah, good for him. Good for you. So, all right, you ready? Couple questions.
Okay, I'm ready.
Yeah, as someone who works in the space, what's keeping you up at night? What do you worry about?
Well, this is very local, but in Oregon, we talked about the capitation, and our legislators are talking about doing away with our prioritized lists, which means everything would become a PA. Because right now, if anything's above the line of eligibility, we don't have to prior off anything. It just gets covered. And if they do away with that prioritized lists, then I see CCOs going away and everything becoming fee for service again. And my practice is built on capitation. So besides the vaccine thing, and I think none of us can sleep at night because of vaccines, but I know that we're all feeling that. And we actually have a policy in our practice that if you don't, this might need to be edited for being controversial.
No. I mean, let's hear you.
Very small building. And several years back, maybe 8 years ago, we set a policy that if after a few visits, you're still not willing to vaccinate with the gold standard of pediatrics, and we only hold you to school-required vaccines. So we're not even all of the available vaccines, but if you're not willing to protect your children and practice gold standard of pediatric medicine, you don't belong in our practice because that's our core beliefs. And with vaccines potentially going away, yes, I get excited about how are our kids going to get vaccinated when it's no longer funded. And I'm going to calm down now because my heart.
I wake up every day afraid of that. And you know how I feel. Like, you know what I lecture about. It's almost everyone I've had on the podcast so far said the same thing. You are pediatricians are just below immigrants on the federal target list, because we now know that, circumcisions cause autism, as does Tylenol, and that, science doesn't exist. And really that what they're telling you is that what you believe harms children, they're punching you right in the heart. So, yes.
When we spend all of our waking time working for bettering the world for children, or all of our world for the children.
It's an existential crisis. All right. However, all right. So you worry, you're worrying about the same things we all are. What are you excited about? What are you looking forward to? Besides, or in addition to your son joining you in practice, what are you looking forward to? What are you excited about?
I really believe that if I hadn't had found PCC, I would have retired already, because my practice is so much easier for having the software that I practice with, that it made it fun again. Right? So now I'm back. Oh, well, but I'm not enjoying it because I feel like my practice is not about the computer and paperwork, because now I can actually make choices. Now I can actually make choices based on numbers, not based on, well, I think this might work.
Right.
The gut, because I trust the nursing gut a lot. And that's
Mhm.
what I've done a lot of my business choices on, because I didn't have numbers, because my consultants here were not very helpful. And so now that I can actually go forward with more security, I feel like we're actually having more fun in life. We travel more. I can expand to the next town and be comfortable with knowing that I'm okay doing that, and not, did I just spend my savings on trying to provide better healthcare for kids and it's not going to pan out? There's always that risk, but I feel like I can be confident and know that I don't have to go into debt to take care of more kids and more families.
It's like, could you practice medicine without blood work? Yeah, but it's a lot easier if you get the labs, right?
Right?
Yeah. I tell people a lot that what EHR vendors like PCC, we sell sadness. No one wants to use us, right? And you said it. You're not excited to go into an exam room to type on the computer. So the more that we can stay out of your way, and the more time and space we can give you to be with your families, which is why you went into medicine, that's when we're doing our job. And so,
but I'm really excited about the maybe pocket scribe coming to PCC. I'm looking forward to hearing about that, because I've gotten little hints of that with what I'm using, and I'm thinking that could make this even more fun.
Yeah, because the AI stuff, presuming that's what you're talking about, the AI stuff, it's for real. We're seeing it we get to see it internally, but it's one thing. It's one thing to develop something that is sort of like a proof of concept, and it works, and it does work. We showed it off at the users conference. It's another thing to make it somewhat impermeable to the crazy things that you guys do when you get a hold of it, and that's a little bit harder. So you'll get to see it soon. I hope it'll be exciting.
I'm actually really excited about that. I mean, I think that getting to tell those bigger stories and having a more robust note so that my partner can see it afterwards it's just going to make those stories that much richer.
Yeah, for behavior, Richard's exactly right. Behavioral health is where it is the game changer. So you can sit down and have a 45-minute conversation with a kid who needs your full attention, and you don't have to think for a second, I got to remember this. You don't have to write anything down. You can just be in the moment. That's better medicine.
It's amazing.
Yep. All right. I think I only have one more question for you.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
I'm getting ready.
If you could, here you go. If you could go back and give advice to yourself 20 years ago, what would it be?
Unplug.
Oh, okay.
Take more time off.
Lane.
When I get out on the water where there's no cell phone service, I can get that recharge and fill my cup back up, because they don't teach us how to fill our cup in school.
Mm-hmm.
That's something I've had to learn from my son. And I think it's a very valid lesson that quality of life would have been, go back to richer, would have been so much more full if I had learned how to fill my cup more than just work.
And can you fill it now?
Absolutely.
Wow, that's a victory. Good for you. I think you and I and the people who listen to this podcast, work isn't even quite the right word. I would say half of what I do is work. Half of what I do, I would just do. Which is not, by the way, a request that I cut my salary at. But it's that, yeah, it's like, there's intrinsic reward to helping people. And that, that's a nice thing. But at the same time, boy, do I need a break some days.
It's because it's who we are. It's not what we do.
Right. I agree. I just think there have to be days, not have to be days. Every day as a pediatrician is potentially heavier than it is for me and the people at PCC and all the other EHRs. people work for, because you end up engaged with a family who's got a life-changing problem, and that's heavy. I just have to deal with maniac pediatricians.
Sometimes we just run into, decision fatigue too. You make enough decisions all day long. You just don't want to make more decisions at the end of the day.
You're right. That's a really good point. Lisa, first of all, thank you. I really appreciate you giving me this time. Do you have any, no pressure, but do you have any words of wisdom or anything like that for someone who might be considering approaching the Medicaid space?
Call me. No, really talk to your local providers who are already engaging and credentialing, contracting with your plans, and see what's working and what's not. Because it does change because each state has a different contract, right? But really talk to your local providers who are already doing it and see if it's working.
It's perfect advice. You sound like you're ready to be a consultant. All right. So thank you so much, and we'll talk soon.
Excellent.
Thank you for listening. More information can be found in our show notes. Production and editing by Chip Hart, Ali Squires, and Chris Forleo. Music by Challenger C. I'm Mark Herney.